بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. السلام عليكم. So we started this series 3 weeks ago about how to connect with Quran. And it's a very critical topic since now Ramadan is behind us. How do we connect to Quran? And what I started with last 2 weeks, I gave you some example how Sahaba, the Prophet ﷺ, the Tabi'een, how they interact with the Quran, right? So today I'm going to share with you some of the example from the Prophet ﷺ, and then we're going to dive into why we're not connecting to Quran. And the next week, inshallah, I'm going to start step by step how to connect to Quran, inshallah. This ayah here, Surah Al-Imran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ لَآيَاتٍ لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ الذين يذكرون الله قياما وقعودا وعلى جنوبهم ويتفكرون في خلق السماوات والأرض ربنا ما خلقت هذا باطلا سبحانك فقنا عذاب النار. I want you to read it a little bit. Last week, I spent a week in Arizona. I traveled with my wife. So we went to Flagstaff. Then we did a lot of hiking, a lot of mountaineering, and that's what I do. Every 3-4 months, I travel with my wife. You probably wonder, why do I do that? I do that, it's exactly what this ayah says. You're supposed to reflect Allah's creation. Wallahi, I am not trying to praise myself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, la tuzakku anfusakum. But when I go for the hiking, I feel my iman going up. And subhanAllah, the trail is full of Christian and non-Muslim. They're looking at it, they go, wow. And there's nothing is happening in their heart. Nothing is connected to them. They just see the beauty of Allah, but it doesn't make them close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the benefit that we have as a Muslim. We look at the beauty and we say, subhanAllah, how amazing. Because it's beautiful, and the beauty cannot be created only by the ultimate beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, I'll tell you a story about this verse. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was sleeping one day and he asked Aisha radiallahu anha, can I go worship? Give me some time to be alone with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And she said, if that's what you love, sure. I only love what you love, so go ahead. And he left his bed and he went to the Qiyam al-Layl. During that Qiyam al-Layl, of course, he was crying so much that his beard was wet, that the tears started falling on the ground. And then Bilal walked in because it was time for Fajr. He said, Ya Rasulullah, why are you still crying? Why are you crying? Didn't Allah forgive all your sin, the past and the present and the future? He said, should I not be grateful servant? And then he said, this is the ayah that I want you to, what he said. He said, a verse has revealed to me. And then he started reading this verse. Inna fi khalqi samawati wal ardi ila akhirih. And then he said, woe to the one who does not reflect on this verse. Subhanallah. So he said to her, and waylun liman qara'aha wa lam yatafakkar fiha. Woe to the one who read it and does not reflect on it. So my point from this is when you read Quran, you have to read it and with the reflection. You have to ask yourself, what is it telling me? What am I supposed to do with the verse? Right? And then when you're walking outside in Fajr or Isha, look at the sky. That is dhikr, actually, dhikr. Dhikr is not just subhanallah, alhamdulillah. Dhikr is when you look at Allah's creation, you say subhanallah. That doesn't make you a better believer. I don't know what's going on. Something wrong with the heart. So I said that last week. Hassan al-Basri rahimahullah said, أنزل القرآن ليعمل به فاتخذ الناس تلاوة عملا قال ابن الجوزي يعني أنهم اقتصروا على التلاوة وتركوا العمل به. That means Quran was revealed to take action, to reflect on it, to understand it. If you can't understand it, you can't reflect on how you can apply it. Simple, right? So we gotta really try and understand it. Ask yourself, what is it telling me to do? This hadith is one of the core things I'm going to talk about it today. And Abi Abdurrahman al-Sulami is one of the Tabi'i. He said, حدثنا من كان يقرئنا من أصحاب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. They used to learn Quran from companion, this Tabi'i. And then he said, كانوا يقترئون من رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم 10 آيات. They used to listen only 10 verses from the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. This is the companion. This is the method by which they connect to Quran. I'm giving an example. I give you the example of the Prophet ﷺ, how he ta'athur bil Quran, how he reacts to a verse like that and he starts crying. This example is more about how the Sahaba were interacting with the Quran. So they used to memorize, they deal with 10 verses, that's it. 10 آيات. فلا يأخذون في العشر الأخرى حتى يعلموا ما في هذه من العلم والعمل. They don't go beyond 10 verses until they understand those 10 verses from a knowledge and action. From a knowledge and action. You understand? That's the method by Sahaba. We don't do that anymore. We memorize a lot, we put on the wall, and that's it. No, ya akhi. If you're gonna, and subhanAllah, we have, alhamdulillah, the best masjid here. From when it comes to Huffaz and Qurra, mashallah. May Allah bless all the imams. But I ask the parents and us who know some Quran to go back and understand it. Understand the verse, understand what it says, read tafsir. What is it telling you? And all that I'm going to explain it, inshallah, starting next week. The question I'm going to ask you, can Quran change everyone, anyone? Do you know? It changed everyone. What about Abu Jahl? Why Abu Jahl didn't change, but Abu Bakr changed? What's the difference between those two? Right. Because one, the Abu Jahl has no sincerity. He's arrogant. He's approaching Quran with arrogance. Right? He does not, he's got this ego. He does not want to do it. Abu Bakr, sincerity, humility. And that's the advice for me and you. You want to connect to Quran, you got to approach it with humility. This is Kalamullah, it's coming. This is not a simple book. And you have to reach it with humility, with sincerity. That's advice for me for this week. And subhanAllah, Ibn Qayyim said many things about how قسوة القلوب إن قسوة القلوب بلاء خطير والشر المستطير فهي التي تمنع العبد من التأثر بالآيات المشاهدة subhanAllah والآيات المقروءة. That means he's saying, Ibn Qayyim, the heart, when it's hard, the heart that is very hard, not soft, because of sin, because of disease and all that, it doesn't get impacted by anything. You could put him in front of the highest, the beautiful mountain, the rivers and all that, doesn't move. And if he read Quran, does not shake his heart at all. And that's what Abu Jahl was. He was that kind of arrogant person because he had hard heart. And Hassan al-Basri, he said, when a person came up to him, he said, Ya Aba Sa'id, ashku ilayk qaswata qalbi. I have very hard heart. What should I do? I said, Addibhu bi-dhikr. Discipline by remembrance Allah. You want your heart to soften, increase your remembrance Allah. And Quran is one of the dhikr, the great dhikr. And then Rasul Hassan al-Basri said, Ya ibn Adam, kayfa yuriqu qalbak wa inna hammataka hiya akhir surah. How does your heart soften where you're only concerned about finishing Quran? Come on, take it easy. You got to read, think about it, reflect upon it. This is another tool that I'm trying to pass on. And I said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَنُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ مَا هُوَ شِفَاءٌ وَرَحْمَةٌ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَلَا يَزِيدُ الظَّالِمِينَ إِلَّا خَسَارًا. And this is what the point is. Quran is shifa, is a cure, right? But you have to give it that sincerity. You have to be the humility, you know. And then, inshallah, next week, well, actually, I'm going to just start quickly here. How much time do I have? 9 minutes. Okay, give me 2 minutes. One of the reasons why we're not connecting Quran, here is the first one. Rasul ﷺ said in one of the ayah, وَقَالَ الرَّسُولُ يَا رَبِّ إِنَّ قَوْمِ اتَّخَذُوا هَذَا الْقُرْآنَ مَهْجُورًا. Rasul ﷺ is complaining to Allah that his people have abandoned the Quran. What is abandon the Quran? That doesn't mean put it on a wall like most of us do on the shelf until next Ramadan. Does not mean that. It's actually worse than that. Ibn Qayyim listed many level of what this abandoning means. It can means person does read it, or maybe he doesn't listen, or maybe he doesn't read. But the worst case, he read it, but he doesn't apply it. But this doesn't reflect on it. He read it and he does haram. He commits sins. You know what I mean? He does horrible things in his daily life, during day-to-day things. He does not live by the Quran. This is one of the abandoning Quran, type of abandoning Quran. And there's many examples like that. Next thing, Ikhwani, let me just give you this. This is one of the biggest problems we have in our time. Distraction. Subhanallah. This guy here, wallahi, is number one problem that's keeping us from Quran. This cell phone. It is the biggest problem. It is the heedlessness and distraction. Heedlessness, basically, ghafla. And ghafla comes because we're not involved in dhikr to begin with. So shaitan is always all over us. That's number one. Number two, distraction means a phone. We can't even focus. Wallahi, I can focus. Some of us, subhanAllah, mashallah, you are actually listening for 10 minutes now. There are some people can afford 5 minutes. They get irritated. They have to leave. They can have, they have attention deficit issue because the phone keep ringing, beep, this, that, and they just can't focus. You want Quran, you need to shut this off and put it away. That's the only way you're going to connect to Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala قال إن في ذلك للذكر لمن كان له قلب أو ألقى السمع وهو شهيد. You have to have the heart available, open, ready to absorb the Quran. وألقى السمع وهو شهيد. Subhanallah, there's so much to talk about. Last thing before I go over time. Imam Tabari, صاحب التفسير. Everybody know Imam Tabari, the great scholar of tafsir. إني لأعجب ممن قرأ القرآن ولم يعلم تأويله كيف يلتد بقراءته. I went to English translations right there. The reason why I'm giving you the slide, because this is very critical, important topic. That's why I have a slide. So I want you to really have that like a image in your heart, in yourself, what I'm talking about today. If there's one thing very important of today, Khatirah, is this topic here. How can you enjoy listening to Quran or reading it if you don't understand it? It's a tragedy. Wallahi, tragedy. And I said that many times before Ramadan, Taraweeh. Please read the surah before you listen to it from Sheikh Ramadan or Sheikh Abdullah. Because once you read a little bit meaning and you come, wallahi, tumma wallahi, you're going to have a whole different experience. Because you're listening beautiful qira'ah and you're like, is that a Chinese? I don't know what he's saying. I have no idea. I just hear the med and this and that, and I don't know what he's saying. And I sit there, wallahi, I cry inside. I don't know how this brother can actually be impacted. They just listening. I don't know what they understand. It makes me cry. Wallahi, it makes me cry. And I'm like, subhanAllah, what can we just take an effort, try to at least understand the basic meaning? I'm not going to balagha or grammar. That's a different level. I'm not going to go there. I'm giving you a basic way of connecting Quran, the basic meaning. Just understand what the surah is. Come in, and wallahi, you're going to have a different experience of Quran. And last thing, like I said, my tip of today, approach Quran with sincerity, humility. Ask Allah, make a lot of dua to ask Allah to connect you to Quran. And Allah will open up the door for you, inshallah. جزاكم الله خير سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم. وإياكم.